Today we have the brand new Trail Sport model of the 2024 Honda Ridgeline. That makes it the second from the top trim level. For the right price, it's an ultra practical little everyday pickup, and today we're going to go through all the exterior, interior, and get it out on the road for a test drive and talk about some of the cool features with that bed. Let's get started. All right, y'all, let's take a look at the details of this Honda Ridgeline Trail Sport. So starting out right up front, one thing that really surprises me is we get LED headlights, LED daytime running light, which look really good, but you get a halogen high beam, which surprises me. Not a huge deal, but I was not expecting that. And Honda gives you this specific grille for the Trail Sport model. You even got that Trail Sport branding right there as well. You know, Honda's changed the front end of this a little bit since this version came out in 2017. I'd love to know what your thoughts are overall. You've got fog lights down there as well. Now the paint color on this one is called Sonic Gray Pearl. It's kind of a milky bluish color. That's how I would describe it. You get 18-inch wheels on this particular model with the Trail Sport, and we've got all-terrain tires. So that's one way that Honda actually gives us a little bit more ruggedness with this model. You're supposedly going to get a little bit more underbody protection. I think an oil pan protector as well. But the ground clearance, surprisingly, is less than a Honda CR-V. It's 7.6 inches right here, which is not very much, so I wouldn't really recommend going off-road, but it does have all-wheel drive, all-terrain tires, so it's going to be okay in slippery situations. And dimensionally, it's 210 inches long, so it is still smaller than your typical body-on-frame pickup, but quite a bit bigger than the Ford Maverick or Hyundai Santa Cruz. So keep that in mind. It's kind of just in its own little world. You're gonna have LED taillights, but an incandescent turn signal right there, blacked out Ridgeline branding and badging back there, and a dual exhaust. Now coming to the bed of the Ridgeline, I think this is one of the coolest things that makes this Ridgeline stand out, not because it's a deep bed or a long bed or a big bed. It's just the fact that it's got some cool little features. So first of all, you know, you got a locking tailgate. You can get a tonneau cover here, have the electronic locking tailgate. You can unlock it, and of course it can open up this way. It's not a soft opener though, but we can lift this up, and then right here, check this out. In case you hadn't seen this before, Honda still does this with the Ridgeline, just like when they introduced this. And I think this is a nice little feature because you can still load over here, and this opens up pretty far, and this gives you great access into the bed. Plus, we also have this, which is also lockable. It's an in-bed trunk. Your spare tires in here. It's not only is it lockable, but it's got a drain plug too. So you can have wet stuff in there. You can fill it up with ice and drinks, or throw gear back there and keep it waterproof. The other thing about this bed is that it is a composite bed. So it's a steel reinforced composite bed. So it's supposed to be very strong. It's basically like a bed liner as it is. You've got some fixed tie downs right there, fixed tie downs in every single corner. Those are always handy and practical. And you don't have the wheel wells cutting into the bed of the truck. So you've got some good functional width back here. Now to show you more of this, it's pretty big and pretty deep. I can't remember, I think it's about 7.5 cubic feet or so. There's your spare tire. The only con to the spare tire being right there is if you do have the bed loaded, you're gonna have to take stuff out in order to get to that spare tire. But there's your drain plug. It's really massive and deep, and it rained all night last night, and there's not a drop of water in here. Over here, it's even an extra little storage bin. That's always nice. And on this trim, these are just halogen lights, but Honda still gives you in-bed lighting back here, which is also great. Now, let's take a quick look at the key fob. So just your typical lock, unlock, and remote start. The lock works for that tailgate, as you saw. This does have the smart key system on the front doors. You push that button to lock it, flash in the mirror, and then instead of pushing the button to unlock it, it's actually a sensor. The door gives us a big soft armrest, grab handle, a little storage area right here, and a bottle holder right there. I kind of love how Honda gives us bottle holders that are elevated and some decent door storage. Although it is elevated, does it fit? Oh yeah, it does fit a big mug like that. That is crazy. And then we get these special Trail Sport seats because they've got this Trail Sport branding. They're leather with orange contrast stitching. They look nice, and these are actually very comfortable seats. I've been surprised. I've had two vehicles this week, one with Cadillac in the Escalade, and I think I am more comfortable in these seats than the Escalade seats. The Escalade gives me massages. This one doesn't, but hey, these are still very comfortable and plush. Two-way lumbar support, height, tilt, all the regular adjustments down here. Honda gives us a leather-wrapped steering wheel, which is also heated. Heating button is right there. 4-spoke design, leather-wrapped, orange stitching on there. Manual tilt and telescoping, but it's got a pretty good range of motion. I haven't had any complaints. And when we turn the vehicle on, we've got the entry-exit system, so the seat will automatically move where you want it to because we've got memory settings on the door. Now, taking a quick look at the back seat, you've got a nice soft armrest. You still get a big old cup holder up top right there. No storage down below because this is pretty much where it goes. But this back seat is more practical and spacious and more functional overall than you would probably expect. First of all, pull handle, lift that up, boom, look at that. A mostly flat load floor except for that ridge in the middle. This is fantastic though. Loading stuff, this is excellent, and I love the split folding seats because that side can fold up too. Then let it down and that little metal piece pops out and boom, clicks right into place. Now I'm 5'9". This is where I sit with my seat, and I've got good foot space and good knee space overall. And one thing that's cool is that this has stadium seating. So eye level, you sit up higher than the front seat. So this can help with motion sickness or car sickness. And I think it just is kind of nice with a better view. We've got air conditioning vents right there. And down here, we also have a 12-volt power outlet right there. No USB charging ports down here. That's all. Over here in the middle, big old soft armrest. This is actually really nice and padded to make this comfortable. But these are some tiny little cup holders right there. Headroom is good. With my hat, there's a good cutout. I can fit just fine. Now, this Honda interior is very nice in my opinion, not in terms of like highest of quality, but it's nice and practical and very easy to live with. Foot on the brake, push button start right there. So with Honda steering wheel controls, we've got our typical volume knob or volume controls, seeking audio stuff. This is for your touchscreen or your digital display, excuse me, which I'll show you in a little bit. You also have more drive mode or driver assist and cruise control stuff, plus your heated steering wheel button over here. So for our digital display up here, Honda gives us a few different things that we can see. You can see all those different gauges right there. You can decide what all you see. And then I like the rest of the cluster. It's pretty simple, but it is still digital up into the digital speedometer. Moving over, Honda actually gives us some nice materials up and around this whole area, which is kind of surprising to me. Another thing is we have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which are standard on here. That's a nice thing. This is a 9-inch screen. I like the physical controls and the volume knob over here, but you can still go back. You can customize what's on your bottom section right here. Got some different menu items. You can change vehicle settings, things like that. And one thing about touchscreens that I don't like is when you're driving, you know, you can hit a bump, your finger moves, you got to be very precise. This has a little finger ledge built in, so you can rest a couple fingers and be much more precise with your hand. I like that. Maybe I'm just getting old. I don't know. Anyways, dual zone climate control down here. Everything is a very nice, simple layout. Below that, we've got a storage area, and this is kind of like a split separated area. Wallet, sunglasses, whatever you want. Heated seat controls right there. Below that, we've got wireless charging and a storage bin, and these are both rubber lined, so stuff will not slide around. 2 USB ports and 12-volt power outlet. Move back from there, things get a little interesting. We've got Honda's 9-speed transmission, which is a push-button transmission. It's very flat, so you've got a big wide open area down here. We've got push for drive, pull back for reverse, and then we've got 3 different views for our backup camera: wide angle, normal, straight down. Cup holders are massive. This thing just swims in here, and this is pretty big for most standard things, so you could probably fit a big wide jug in there just fine. Coming back even more, you can lift up this armrest right here with this, but we've got a huge wide armrest. This is just as wide as a lot of mid-size or full-size SUVs. This is really nice, and it is padded, and it's pretty big on the inside. Honda also gives us a locking glove box, Up there you get an automatic dimming rearview mirror, but you also get 3 garage controls right there. There's a sunglass holder up here as well. Then we've got LED interior lighting, and we've got just your standard size sunroof. And in the back, one thing that I really like is that rear window. One more thing with the visors, open it up, pull it out, full action visor. So overall, I would say I really do like the interior of the Ridgeline. I'm not a materials type person with the quality of interiors. It's the functionality for me, and I think Honda does a great job with that for the most part. Leave it to Honda to give us a prop rod still here in the mid $40,000 range, but under the hood, there is just one option. That's another thing that kind of leads me to thinking this is just in its own class. It doesn't have a hybrid option. It doesn't have a turbo option. It's just your naturally aspirated V6. And I honestly like the fact that it is a naturally aspirated V6, but it's only direct injected. This is Honda's 3.5 liter V6 with 280 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque, paired with a 9-speed automatic. An MPG should be good. It's not great. It only gets up to 23 on the highway, which bigger vehicles nowadays are starting to do that and get better at MPG, but Honda just hasn't really done anything to try to help with that. That's what you get with the naturally aspirated V6. Towing wise, a little bit less than some of the other mid-sized competitors. It is 5,000 pounds across the board, certainly capable and more than enough for a lot of people to tow boats or small campers, things like that. All right, y'all, we're behind the wheel of the Honda Ridgeline now. So the biggest takeaway of driving the Ridgeline versus driving any other pickup or body-on-frame style pickup is that this feels just like driving like a Honda Pilot, for example, where it is based off of a crossover platform. That's one of the biggest differences in terms of driving this versus some of the other vehicles. The Maverick and the Santa Cruz from Ford and Hyundai are also crossover based just like this, so they're going to drive like cars and crossovers too, which makes them smooth and comfortable, and I'm still very comfortable in these seats. It just decreases some of the overall capability. That's the main trade-off in the ground clearance. But driving this day to day is nice. It's comfortable and it's smooth. It's pretty quiet as well. On the road noise aspect, some noise gets in here, and we do have all-terrain tires, and maybe that contributes. This is not laminated glass, so it's not like that. It's sound suppressed glass like you get in some vehicles, especially at this price. But it brakes well, it accelerates well. The steering is typical Honda, where it's pretty light actually. Now those bumps back there, this has a comfortable ride, but some of the bumps and intrusions still make their way into the vehicle. And if you're gonna tow, keep in mind this doesn't have like a trailer brake controller like you can get on other pickups. Something to think about. Maybe it's a big deal or not, but you're not going to be towing anything super heavy anyways, and you can hear a little bit more road noise now as we get up to speed. Now we just have it in regular drive mode, so we've got the 4-wheel drive modes that I showed you. You also have drive and S, like a sequential mode, and paddle shifters. So pedal down in drive mode. Dang, VTEC kicking in, yo. So this Honda is, it's very responsive and punchy and peppy. The 9-speed so far has been smooth. I've heard mixed reviews on the 9-speed over the years. This time with me, in this one, it's been good, it's been smooth, and it's responsive. Just partial pedal right there. Now, if I put this into S mode, push that, it's kind of like sport mode, where it automatically revved up, and it's a little bit more responsive and quicker. It's going to keep the RPMs up. You can also use the paddle shifters if you want to control that. I'm going to put us back in just normal drive mode. For economic driving, there is an econ mode over here that definitely dulls things out quite a bit, but there's also a little green light above the speedometer. When it's green, you're doing pretty good at being efficient. If you get on the pedal, the green goes away because you're not driving all that efficient. So that's a little indicator and can help you get better MPGs. I like the weight of the steering, that it's pretty light, but not fake light, super fake light like the Honda Civic. I feel like it's like pinky light just flinging the steering wheel around. This works well for this vehicle, and it's comfortable, and the ride is good and balanced. And this is a front-wheel drive based vehicle, but we get all-wheel drive. So with all-wheel drive in this model, you're going to be front-wheel based with the rear wheel still getting some power. And one pro about front-wheel drive is that if you don't have all-wheel drive, the front-wheel drive helps you get around better than strictly rear-wheel drive in slippery situations, because you have the weight of the engine up there. But I gotta say, day-to-day driving the Ridgeline is nice. It's not huge, but you still get a bed. You've got a trunk in the bed. You've got a nice, comfortable interior, a spacious and practical back seat. For the right person, this could be a great vehicle. So to wrap things up on this 2024 Ridgeline Trail Sport, I've got mixed feelings about it. So here's why. It's kind of in its own segment. You know, it came to the market and it was unique. It was the size it was, in between a full size or smaller than your typical full size and mid-size pickup. But now we have the Ford Maverick, the Hyundai Santa Cruz, a couple smaller, more condensed pickups with similar types of practicality. And then you go up and you have the more capable and still similarly priced mid-size class that can tow more, go off-road better, things like that, that a lot of truck buyers are probably gonna want. So where does the Honda Ridgeline fit? I still think it's a practical little pickup, and even though it's not a pickup, it's basically a crossover. It still has a place for some people, and I think it could be very practical and a great daily driver for a lot of different buyers. But let me know what your thoughts are down below on the Honda Ridgeline and this Trail Sport model in particular. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.